Hello, and welcome to Protestor Watching with Karen. Australia Day started in the 1980s, and it's the anniversary of the arrival of the First Fleet. So some people like to call it Invasion Day, but they still go out and have a good time and party on. So if you took the day away from them, like I want to do, it might be terrible because it would leave a massive hole in their social calendars.
Invasion Day activists are often painted with a broad brush.
This is good because then we can extend the circle.
But while reasons for protesting Australia Day can be diverse, there's a unified message across the board.
We're still here and we demand for a better future and justice for our people.
And for people like Tareen, who is a rally organiser, it's part of her job. This is Melbourne earlier today. They've been joined by the pro-Palestine protesters, and after this, they're headed for the tennis centre. And I'm waiting to see that footage.
Well, as many Australians are celebrating Australia Day, thousands of others are choosing to shun the celebrations and are instead preparing to march through Melbourne streets in the annual Invasion Day rally. Let's now go to our reporter, Cyan Valens there. Cyan, just talk us through what's happening where you are right now.
Good morning, Fazia. Well, as you can hear, it's a really loud sort of rally here today. The formal proceedings have just got underway, and those cheers are in support of the most recent speaker. They are calling for a change of the date of Australia Day, which protesters here say is offensive and hurtful to Indigenous people because it marks the start of colonialism and centuries of inequality here in Australia. So there have been lots of speeches, there's been dance, there's been song. One of the speakers said that he first protested this day when he was 18 and he's now 75 years old. So this is a debate that's gone for many years. It's held every year in the lead up to Australia Day, but organisers told us they are still hopeful the date will change. Take a listen to what one of them had to say a little earlier.
I think there's still so much unfinished business in this place, and until Australia is really willing to acknowledge the past and, you know, not sit in this very comfortable amnesia about this country and how it's come to be, that we're going to be continually marching on these steps of Parliament. And this movement behind me is only going to continue to grow, as we're seeing here and across the world.
She didn't say anything about changing the date, ABC. Anyway, it's a movement across the world, so that explains her outfit.
Now, Cyan, organisers have been saying that they're expecting up to 30,000 people at the rally. Are you starting to see those numbers there now?
There is an absolutely enormous crowd here, Fazia. Just we're on Spring Street in front of State Parliament, and you can see that there is standing room only. It is absolutely packed. We actually can't see how far it goes back, so 30,000 sounds absolutely enormous. There are definitely thousands, but it's just too early to estimate numbers at this stage. So there are a lot of formal proceedings to go, and we will leave it here because they've just started a minute's silence.
Thousands are gathering to mark January 26 at the annual Invasion Day rally. The crowds will march through the city and end with a community festival. Our reporter Isabella Higgins joins us now. So Isabella, what's going on there?
Hi David, well we're right in the middle of things at the moment. This is a really significant event to many Indigenous people. As you can see behind me, huge crowds gathered around that purple truck stage. There's been a number of speakers who've come up, and I've got to say they've had a really warm reception from the crowd. They're talking about a number of issues that are important to the First Nations community, black deaths in custody, missing and murdered Aboriginal women, land rights, the push for treaty, and we've also heard people up there expressing their concern about what the future holds for Indigenous people, not just here in Australia but around the world, with the rise of the far right and what changing political leadership around the world means for people here in Australia. As you probably just saw, it's a sea of red, yellow and black, of course the colours of the Aboriginal flag. But there's also a lot of Palestinian flags. A lot of people who are here today say that they've come to stand in solidarity with Palestinian people. I've been chatting to people here about why they do decide to come to this event. It happens every single year. And a lot of the people who come with their children. It's something of a family event. Some of those people said that they like to be surrounded by their community, fellow Indigenous people. These are First Nations groups from all over the state have come to be here today. Many of them say that January 26th is a difficult day for them. It's a day that for them is a reminder of the displacement, the dispossession that started with colonisation in this country, and that this event for them is about standing in solidarity to celebrate the continued strength and survival of Indigenous culture. We had a chat a little bit earlier to the rally organiser, Paul Silver, about why he thinks this event is important and what they're trying to do here today. Let's take a listen.
The current government system is not working, not for First Nations people, but also not for non-Indigenous people. First Nations people are up on the top of the list to be targeted, but the reality of it is that, you know, we need to come together, unite and, you know, hold this system accountable and stand together and come as one.
So you've spoken to a few people there, Isabella, so could you tell us more about why people are coming to this rally today, or what they've told you?
Yeah, David, what I will say is that there are plenty of non-Indigenous people here, as well as Indigenous people who've come down, who want to show their respect to Indigenous Australians and recognise the suffering that's been experienced through the colonisation of this country. There are a lot of people here who say that they come every single year, that for them this is a sense of community. And this, while many say is a sign of resistance for them, also, this will ultimately end in celebration. This rally starts here in Belmore Park, of course on Gadigal country in the middle of Sydney. We'll walk down Sydney's CBD and it will end at Yarbin, which is really a community festival for everyone. It's where music takes place. It's all about celebrating the song and ceremony of Indigenous cultures, and again, a way to celebrate the continued strength and survival of those communities. So people come down here to feel connected. For people who perhaps have mixed feelings about January 26th, what that day represents, who maybe don't feel wholly positive, they come here and it is very much about centring the Indigenous experience.
From the beach to buildings of colonial heritage.
This is blackfire land!
First Nations people and allies marked today as the anniversary of the beginning of colonisation and what came after.
The forced removal of Aboriginal kids in care, you know, the high rate of Aboriginal people incarcerated and the high rate of Aboriginal people being unalived and killed in custody.
There is a war on black children.
Our children are dying at the end of the rope, and it's got to stop.
Crowds at the Melbourne rally were quite big, but here at the Sydney Invasion Day rally, speakers said that the numbers weren't as big as previous years, but the message remains the same, that the 26th of January is not a day to celebrate.
Activists also calling out new struggles.
This year is an important year. What we are coming up against is the rise of fascism, the rise of Trumpism right across the world, and we need to meet them face to face.
A gathering of a far-right group in Adelaide didn't stop tens of thousands of people around the country hearing what Mob had to say.
That's the sovereignty that white Australia continues to deny, and we ain't going nowhere.
We want respect, we want acknowledgement, we want justice.
Invasion Day 2025, sovereignty never said.
Always won! Always will be!
After marching in the heat, many wrapped the day at community picnics, festivals and concerts. A message of strength and survival through song and ceremony. Carly Williams, ABC News, Gadigal Land, Sydney.
Nazis. I'm going to have to look them up next. Here's some more of them marching around in Sydney.
land? Who stole this land? Who owns this land? Who stole this land?
Nothing here to celebrate. Australia is a racist state. Nothing here to celebrate.
And look, it's Rachel Evans. So she's with the Socialist Alliance and she's at all the protests. So whether it's abortions or trans rights, she's there and she's coordinating everyone else around her.
Australia is a racist state. Nothing here to celebrate. Australia is a racist state. Aboriginal land.
And that'll do. See you later. Bye.